All right, now let's get to control classification. Now we talked about controls. We have talked about the control families. So I mentioned to you that the actual controls are the ones that NIST has given us. And NIST has also grouped these controls under various control families. Now these control families have also been classified. And so we have three forms of classification. We have management control, operational control, and technical control. The management control focuses on the computer system or the computer security system and the management of the risks of the system. Now, whenever you are thinking about management control, what I want you to think about is that we say that the management controls are the policies and procedures that guide and oversee the organizations. So when you're thinking about management controls, think about the security assessment and authorization control family, the planning, the risk assessments, the system and service acquisition, the supply chain management, all of them falls under the management controls. Now, this is where we are talking about the security policies or the risk management. Now, let's move to the next one. Operational controls. Now, when we talk about operational controls, what comes to mind? Whenever we are talking about operational controls, we are talking about how do we address issues that are related to the mechanisms primarily implemented and executed by the people. And so operational controls are the practices and actions that we have put in place to ensure that the day-to-day implementation of security measures are actually being achieved. And so whenever we are talking about operational controls, what I want you to be able to think about is that I want you to think about awareness and training. I want you to think about incident response, media protection. And so when you sit down and you let it sink in, you could see that, oh, truly, system and information integrity is part of it. Personnel security is also part of it. And those are the operational controls that we are talking about. Then the last one is the technical controls. What are technical controls? Now, technical controls are the technological mechanisms that are being used to enforce our security policies and procedures. The management are the ones, they developed the policy and procedure and the guide for overseeing the organization. The operational controls are the practices and actions that are put in place to ensure the day-to-day of the security measures. Then the technical controls are the technological mechanisms that we use to enforce the security policies and procedures. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the access controls. We are talking about the audit and accountability. We are talking about identification, authentication. We are talking about the system and communication protection. And this is what we refer to as information classification. So there are three classifications. There are 20 security control families. There are three classifications. And the classifications are the management, operational, and technical controls. I'm sure you have a better understanding of what this is. Now, imagine that you are building a fortress to protect a treasure. The management controls are the case orders and rules about who can enter the fortress and how the treasure is supposed to be protected. Operational controls are the guards that are patrolling the wall, checking IDs, making sure the gates are locked at night, making sure that the fortress and the treasures in the fortress are being protected. Now, the technical controls are like the drawbridge mechanism and the thick stone walls that are physically preventing invaders from entering the fortress. So before you come and enter the fortress, there is a wall. All those walls are what we call the technical controls. There is a wire that is on the wall. So you can't just jump and enter. But what you can do is that you have to go through the gates. What is happening at the gates? When you get to the gate, they need to be able to verify, check your ID, make sure you are who you say you are. And that is where the operational controls comes in place. And they are doing that in relation to the orders that have been given to them by the management. I hope this analogy made so much sense to you. And this is what we have under control selection classification. And this is all we got to talk about and selection under the step 2 on the risk management framework. We are going to move to the implementation in our next video.